Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up. Bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate all the support I've been getting, man. I'm very humbled by it. So we are now sitting here on August 31st, 2025, and baby Manuel is still missing. His body has still not been found. Quite contrary to all the rumors that are going around that he has been discovered, that his remains have been found. At this point, we're still on the edge. He has not been found. Rebecca Harrell has not told his whereabouts. The devil dad, Jake Harrell, has not told his whereabouts. What's going on? How diabolical are these people? Do they have a grain in their heart of compassion for their missing son? Or is this a cat and mouse game? Are they trying to play checkers while we're all playing chess? And I said it correctly, right? You know, because they basically have self-admitted or just shown by their deviant ways and the way they act exactly what has happened here. But they refuse to give up the location of baby Emmanuel. Maybe we're at the point where they don't know. Maybe we're at the point where they don't care. Well, I think we were already at that point. But today I wanted to focus on something different than baby Emmanuel. He's still going to be in our hearts. He's still going to be our kid. He's still going to be loved and treasured like he should have been by his own diabolical parents. We're going to talk about promise faith, right? We're going to talk about promise. You know, prior to Jake Harrell being caught up in this situation, he had a daughter and another son, which of course, man, are being loved on, cared for by people that actually have a heart. People that actually, I got to give them the utmost respect, because not only did they take in one child, but they took in two. And these are two children spawned from the devil dad himself, Jake Harrell, that really needed help. Especially, right? And I don't want to differentiate the kids because they both have issues, right? But promise, after what Jake was convicted on doing to her, it's crazy. Now the name, the devil dad, has been stamped. He is considered the devil dad, and he was given that name by his mother-in-law. The grandmother to these children gave him that name. So obviously there's something in his eyes, something that she knows, and I'm sure the family knows a lot more than we do. They've seen the interaction with his children, so they know what it is, right? But let's not forget about Vanessa. Vanessa Avina, Jake Harrell's ex. A lot of people, there's a lot of rumors circulating that Jake tried to blame her for what happened to Promise, his daughter. The willful, cruelly inflicted punishment that they were convicted on. I'm here to tell you that was deserving. She also participated in this, and she is no better than Rebecca Harrell at all. Vanessa Avina should have done way more time than she done. Did Jake tell on her? Absolutely. That's his MO. That's what he does. He's a woman-beating rat, right? So what he does, because he feels that he's the man of the house, he's quick to be a coward and blame women for what he's doing. But was Vanessa innocent in the situation of Promise? Absolutely not. And we're going to get into what happened. On October 18, 2018, the devil dad, Jake Harrell, and Vanessa Avina's 10-week, not 10-month, 10-week-year-old daughter was admitted into Hemet Valley Hospital. Okay? She was severely beaten. She barely survived. I'm reading from right here, right? She was adopted by Jake Harrell's cousins after this beating took place, when she was removed from the home of Vanessa Avina and Jake Harrell, his first wife, right? She was severely beaten. She's now being taken care of every day and adopted since the brutal attack, right? By Jake's cousins. Promise Faith was formerly known as Carolina Rose. She just turned 7 on July 31st. So it has been several years. She was 10 weeks old when this incident occurred at the home of Vanessa Avina and Jake Harrell. It took them 3 to 4 years to get a conviction. Okay? That means this man stood on the streets around other children, having different women, being able to smoke that bowl and do everything while his daughter suffered. She is blind. She cannot speak. She needs to be assisted in cleaning her tracheum. She has a tracheotomy that's done, a device. It needs to be cleaned every day. Excuse me, man. My slurring overcomes me when it comes to this case, right? As a result of what was done to Promise, she has to breathe using a tracheotomy tube, needing frequent suctioning so she doesn't suffocate on her own mucus. She's blind. She cannot walk. She cannot talk. She only has 3% of her brain function left and 100% dependent on all cares. In addition to adopting Promise, Jake's prima, his cousin, a female, and her husband, man, he's an angel, her husband, took on a lot more than he had to take on, right? And you got to respect a man that does that. He loves his wife so much and his family so much that he's willing to take on her family's issues, right? They also adopted Jake and Vanessa's son. Yes, Jake does have a son with Vanessa as well. His name is Carlos, formerly known as Jake Mitchell Harrell II, right? And here's the kicker. He was born with alcohol fetal syndrome. So they got another child that they're having to look at that has issues, right? That comes from Jake. Now, Vanessa Avina, the not so innocent woman that was with Jake Harrell, that everyone is saying Jake Harrell snitched on and said that she was the one that beat his child. I believe truly they did it together. I believe that Jake is just as guilty as Vanessa, and Vanessa is just as guilty as Jake. Just like Rebecca is just as guilty in this case. Whether she laid one single finger on Emmanuel, she sure did a lot of hola talking, a lot of cover up. I don't give a shit what she's been through. She hasn't been through enough to turn her back on her own child and to cover up what this diabolical individual, this inhuman being, right, Jake, did to her son. Did she participate on a different level? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out in the court case, right? Through witness testimony, through their own self-admittance. We're going to find out. Do I believe Rebecca's going to stand strong next to Jake? So far, she is. But things are going to change when she figures out Jake is going to do what he did in the first case and point finger at Al Boo Boo. It was her. It was her. Can you tell by the writing on her walls? It was her. Now, Vanessa is fully responsible, and Jake as a father is also fully responsible for his son Carlos being born with alcohol fetal syndrome, because Vanessa was arrested several times for DUIs and drinking while pregnant. How were these children allowed to go home with these monsters? How is it that a woman who drinks alcohol, and of course it's her own body, her own temple, she can tear it down if she wants to, right? No one can tell anyone. I hate it when I see a pregnant woman smoking or drinking or getting high. You know, I walk away from that situation because I don't want to be a part of helping that, right? I don't want to be a part of giving to that situation. I don't want to be an enabler at all. And enabling means smelling the same fucking air that they're breathing. That's enabling. I don't want them to breathe the same air around me. Okay, but how is it that this woman, Vanessa, and I wanted to focus on Vanessa and Jake. Let's put Rebecca's fat ass over there. Yeah, I said it. Some of you don't like the way I talk. It's just the way I was brought up, right? I came up in a household of the rod. They did not spare thy rod, right? But it wasn't abuse. It was discipline, and I needed it, right? Baby Emmanuel, Promise, and Carlos didn't need that. Not at all. They were babies. Babies we're talking about here. A lot of people are talking about Emmanuel and we're forgetting Promise. We're forgetting what she went through. She needs justice. She was not given justice by the CPS. She was not given justice by the court system, by that judge. She was not given justice at all. Instead, these two individuals were able to skate on this. Now, whatever Vanessa Avina is doing in her life, you can't find a picture of her online. I'm sure she had that wiped clean. She's kind of stood out of the limelight in a way, especially with the situation that's going on now with Jake. You would think she would be able to get a hold of to do an interview or things like that. That's a no-no. That's not happening. Instead, family members are coming forward to express their feelings and speak on what they know about in this situation as well as that situation. What we know about in Promise's situation is that little girl, that beautiful little girl, now will suffer for the rest of her life, as well as her parents. Yes, I said it, her real parents, the parents that are taking care of her every day, right? She has made it now to her 7th birthday. Respect, man, to Jake's cousin and her old man for doing what they're doing for that baby, and for also what they're doing for Carlos. We have a man, Jay Caro, if that's what you want to call him, right? We use that term loosely around here. That's running around the Inland Empire. Not right now. He's sitting his ass down where he needs to be. But he was running around while 2 of his children that came from him and Vanessa didn't have their children anymore. They were adopted out. They were gone. Didn't look like he looked happy. He looked like he was doing his thing. He looked like he was living his life. He remarried. She got on. She's probably a tirada and been ran through a million times. I'm just saying. This is just my own thinking. He goes and gets with Rebecca and has another child and does almost the exact same thing that he did to Promise. This man has issues. Okay, horrible, terrible issues where he has no love in his heart for children. Now, the 2-year-old that was removed from the home after Emmanuel's disappearance, and I'm so happy the system finally did something right by removing that child, right? The daughter. She is still in the CPS system. I don't know who wants her. I think the family right now is probably looking at the situation like, man, we don't want nothing to do with nothing, right? She might be caught up in the system, and the system is just as bad as what Jake and Rebecca were doing. It doesn't always work out in the system, the CPS system. Kids are not always loved by the next people that get them. In many cases, they're utilized. Let me explain to you guys a situation. I had a home. I better have. Shit. Or I'd be living like Jake in a cell again, right? Only not those weird charges. But I had a home. And right next door to me, an African-American female lived. She was pretty cool. I used to talk to her here and there when I'd come out. Bigger chick, man. Had a nice Mercedes-Benz in the driveway, always nails done, hair done, smelled good, looked good. I ain't even gonna lie. One of those days I was thinking about sliding over there and knocking on that door, right? But we'd had good interaction. Now, I would always see her with her son. Her son was about 7, 8 years old, and this kid was immaculate, clean, dressed well, nice. He had that shower, haircut, Jordans on, just anything new that was out the style, he was with it. His mother seemed like a good woman. Okay. Then one day I pull up, I worked late night. I pull up, it's about, it's not real late. It's about 8, 9 o'clock, when kids should be inside because it's already dark. And I see these 3 little white kids, very grubby, dirty shirts, dirty clothes, no shoes on their feet, very thin, looking malnutrition, looking very translucent, like their skin is very pale. And they're sitting in the black chick's front yard. And they look like they're playing in the dirt. They look miserable, right? And I see them and are you guys all right? And then she comes out. Oh, they're fine, right? So she takes them inside the house, whatever, right? To what degree of fucking reverse racism is that, right? So I'm wondering what the hell's going on. I start seeing those kids a little bit more often. They're in the backyard playing, whatever. I live right next door, so the fence is low. I could see. And every time they look dirtier and more malnutrition. And I start to get concerned. So I hit her up, because these are children that are in need. You have to be a protector. That's what we're here for. Concerned citizens, right? So I hit her up. I don't want to jump the gun, though. I don't want to put something out there into the wind that ain't true. So I'm like, hey, are you all right? Right? Are the kids all right? Oh, I'm a foster mother and they're fine. They're just going through a lot of abuse. It's hard for me to take care of them. I give her the benefit of the doubt. But as the time passes and I start to see him get worse and skinnier and thinner, I start to question it. And I talk to my people, like, what should I do? And they're like, what I'm saying? I ain't never seen nothing like that when I go by your house. I'm like, I'm just telling you what I see. Well, this chick has a boyfriend that's locked up. She had told me about him one time we talked. She was like, hey, I see your tattoos. You did time? I said, yeah, I did time. She said, yeah, my old man's locked up right now in the county. He's doing a year. He'll be out pretty soon. You might see him. Sure enough, one day I'm working on the car and there's a big brother there all tatted down. On crap, you could tell, right? And he's like, hey, homie, you got a lighter? And I'm like, yeah, I do. You need a cigarette too? Yeah, boom, boom. So I'm chopping it up with him. He's like, yeah, I just got out. Ooh, my old lady right here. This is my old lady. She runs a daycare. I start inquiring, without him knowing, I'm spinning it up. I'm like, okay, she got a daycare center, man. So he's like, yeah, bro, but I ain't gonna lie, man, on some real shit. I just, I got hooked up with her through a homie writing her, but now that I'm seeing the way she treats these kids, like he ain't with it either. He's like, it ain't cool. Well, a couple of days later, I hear some arguing and they're going at it. They're breaking shit, going crazy. She's kicking him up out of the house, right? So this dude's like, I look out my window. I don't want to be involved in the men. None of my domestic issues are not my mix unless it involves children, right? I learned my lesson a long time ago. You try to stop a fight between a man and a woman and you become the victim, right? So I'm watching. He can hold his own. He's a big brother, right? He leaves. I can hear him, bitch, I'm going to put you on blast, whatever. 2 days later, CPS comes, sheriffs come, all these people come. They arrest this chick. He told on her, right? But they arrest her, man. It was like a house of horrors in there. These kids were not being fed. And I felt so bad because I felt it, but I couldn't do nothing about it. Was that on me? Not necessarily. But I'm glad in this case, the system didn't fail these kids all the way. It failed by putting them with the woman who was just using all their money. Now, her kid was cool. Her car was cool. Her house was cool. But she was utilizing the state to get these kids and just make them suffer. She was gone. I never heard what happened to her, right? But I'm sure she's somewhere in hell, I hope. When it comes to Jake and Vanessa Avina and Rebecca Harrell, these people had plenty of opportunity to just show that much love to their children. And they refused to do it. Whatever Vanessa is doing in life, they should have been given way more time for the conviction. Jake was given a 71-month sentence, joint suspension, felony probation, to which he violated on numerous occasions, and still never got the time that he should have got. He pleaded down from a willful cruelty to a child, which was a felony, down to a misdemeanor. He stood on the streets fighting this case for several years. They committed this crime in 2018. He wasn't convicted to 2023, just a couple years ago. And in doing so and in waiting it out and playing the long game, they were able to sweep a lot of this under the rug. Meanwhile, Promise has been going through what she's been going through, and her parents, and I say parents, tough, are taking care of her. Imagine how they feel taking care of Promise and her little brother, Carlos, who, of course, is Jake's actual son and Vanessa Avina's son that we don't hear about, who was born with alcohol fetal syndrome because the mother's fetal could not stop drinking for 9 months. It seems like this family, these people, Jake, the people he gravitates to, are just ghetto. That's the way to say it. They're just hood and ghetto, and they can't stop doing drugs and drinking and doing abuse to each other. I mean, we have not seen a picture yet besides some old 1995, 96 pictures of Rebecca when she doesn't have a black eye. That chick has had a black eye for the last 2.5 years, since 2023. Jake fluctuates from kids to women. He's a coward. I truly hope that they find it somewhere in the hearts. Jake won't, because Jake's an abuser and a coward, and he likes to blame everyone else, right? Again, when I said he was blaming everyone else, not necessarily Vanessa. He might have blamed her, but that bitch deserved it. She played a big part into how her children are right now. Now, whether she laid hands on them or not, she abused her son by drinking alcohol, and he was born with complications. Promise, that's your little baby girl. Get her, bundle her up, and get her the fuck up out of there. If Jake hits you on the back of the head on the way out, you take that one. You're the parent, right? As far as Rebecca goes, I'm pleading to Rebecca right now for your son. I don't like you. I'll never like you. You lied. Hola. But what I do want to say to her directly is, if she's ever able to see this, tell where your son's at. You don't got to blame your old man. I know you're scared of him, right? Whatever. You weren't scared of him when you were smoking that pipa, when he's pounding it out while you're watching Netflix. You're over there watching Gossip Girls, getting pound. Look, you have a son that's missing. I should be out there looking for my son. Bitch, you weren't doing that before you got locked up. Stop. You depended upon myself, Anna Tira, everyone in the community, even the goddamn Sheriff Bianca who's just trying to get voted in to be the governor. You did all the waiting for everyone else to do the job for you. If I was a parent, I'd have been out in the motherfucker. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, you see my kid? Shut up. You see my kid? I'd have been choking shit out. I'd have been on the hunt looking for my child. Every Costco, every liquor store, every telephone pole, tell them they're about to get screwed, blued, and tattooed fucking with the gun. I'm going to be everywhere looking for my child. How you could just sit there and he hit me? No. Hit back. Hit back for your child. Anyways, man, I wanted to say we need justice for Promise. Jake is the devil dad. And hey, all this blame game that he's blaming, these women deserve it too. Because they did exactly what he did, or they had acknowledgement of it, and they did nothing to help their children. And that's how I feel. Anyways, with that being said, let me know what you guys think, man. Jake is the devil dad. He was given that moniker, and it should stick. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the, oh, man, can't even say it, man. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. I've gained so much faith, so much promise, and so much faith into people lately, man. To see people come together and care, that's an eye-opening experience. I thought we lived in a world of uncaring, but now I'm seeing that we still got to last a shred of hope, man. Let's stick together. And that's the bottom line, because Gun said so. Let's get justice for Emmanuel and for Promise and for baby Carlos, the gun.